Hello, and welcome to Songs for the Struggling Artist, the blogcast. My name is Emily Rainbow Davis, and I am here to share the audio version of the blog of Songs for the Struggling Artist. And this one today needs to come out on a Wednesday. You'll probably already know why, because that is the title of the blog. At Wednesday, it's not needs to come out Wednesday. That's not the name of the blog. It's called Amplify Wednesday, but Wednesday it features, so I gotta get this one out on a Wednesday. Why don't I just read it to you? It's called Amplify Wednesday. The thing is, y'all, I was 100% sure I would have achieved massive success at least 20 years ago. I do a lot of different things, and depending on the thing, small groups of people think I'm pretty great at that thing. My issue is not that I make bad things, but that almost no one sees them happen. My platform in this big number world is so tiny, if it were a raft, it could only save a handful of people. This is true for a lot of women I know. The quality of their work is fantastic, but their reach is negligible. I used to fall for the women lack confidence angle, but I know now that that is bullshit. The whole women would do better if they just promoted themselves better, presented themselves differently, made more commercial work thing reminds me of a guy I heard talking about his experience of the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. He said, "It's clear that the cream really rises to the top there." 3 guesses as to whose show had been a hit at the festival that year. When you're at the top, everyone else is just regular milk, and your rise was inevitable. Also, the other thing about cream is that it does rather tend to be rich and white and male. Wait. This metaphor falls apart there, I guess. I don't think cream is gendered, actually. Anyway, my sense is that reach is a problem for a lot of women, so I've decided to start a practice of amplification. I already practice some amplification. After learning about the gender and racial imbalances on Twitter, I made it my practice to follow and amplify the voices of women, particularly women of color, trans people, non-binary people, people of color of all genders, people with disabilities, and anyone else who ought to be heard more. My hope is that with my simple follows and likes and retweets, I can turn up the volume a little for people who ought to be heard. It is not a thing that makes a big splashy difference. I see it as sort of incremental, but hopefully cumulative. Now that we live in a world where people's tweets are news, I think it's important to add to the numbers of the people who are heard. That's all just my small daily amplification. But now I think I need to do a weekly amplification. I want to consciously lift up one woman a week. I want to expand someone's fan base, if only a little. I want to lift up my friends, sure, but also artists, writers, and journalists that I wish had a larger reach. I'd love for others to join me in raising the tide for the unamplified voices. I'd love to see Amplify Wednesday become as common as Throwback Thursday. If there's one thing that writing and podcasting on the internet has shown me, it's the effect of just one person advocating for something. I've seen big spikes in my views and or listens just because one person decided to share it. And then when 2 people share it, my reach doubles, and so on, and so on. Social media is weird. I acknowledge all the freaky things that go on here, all the ways we're manipulated and sold to, but we're all still here. I think because we like one another and we like being connected. We like supporting one another. So I'm advocating formalizing that a little bit. If you feel like joining me, here's what I propose. Every Wednesday, post on the social media of your choice someone's work you want to amplify, and maybe say why. Pick an article, a painting, a song, link to it, and give that person a boost. That's it. #Amplify Wednesday. I'll be amplifying mostly women, inclusive of trans and non-binary folk. I'd love for others to do the same. Even if you don't want to post, click on links that you see posted. Like those updates. We live in a click, like, share world, and you can amplify by doing those things as well. I think it's time for conscious amplification. No disrespect to Justin Timberlake, but he doesn't need your clicks and likes. His voice gets heard no matter what you do. But there are those for whom you can turn the volume up, whose lives you could change just by amplifying them. One of the reasons I'm glad to see my Twitter following growing is not so much for my own work, but because it amplifies the people I amplify more. The rising numbers of followers I have on Twitter has made no difference whatsoever on my views or downloads. None. Zero. But I expect it has made a difference in boosting the numbers of some people and or causes I care about. Turn up the volume on someone who is not getting heard. It's not difficult and a great way to be an ally. You don't need to insert yourself into the conversation. Just turn up the volume on the people who are already having it. So I posted the blog on this one, I want to say a week and a half ago. So this past week was the first sort of, the first time I did it. Like the last time I just was like, here's the thing. And I didn't amplify anybody because I needed to amplify my own blog post. But this week I amplified one of my favorites, my favorite visual artists. Her name is Shannon Harvey. And I posted about her painting series. I think the painting series is called China People Street. But yeah, if you want to see her work, I highly recommend it. I believe her website is shannonharvey.ca because she's in Canada. So go and look at her paintings. We can amplify from here. This will be Wednesday. I will be figuring out the next one to do probably around the same time that this blog gets released. Blogcast, that is. So I don't know that Shannon got any real boost from it. Pretty much the only people to like that post were my mother and Shannon herself. I'm not sure the algorithm is too excited about Amplify Wednesday. So far not giving big numbers to my amplifiees, amplified folk. But, it's worth a shot. And I think it'll take a few more people getting on board before it really takes off. If it does. And if it doesn't, we'll, that's, it can't hurt. That much I know. So, yeah. So for the song today, it's weirdly, despite the fact that amplifiers are an incredibly important part of music, or at least modern rock and roll music, there aren't any songs written about amplifiers as far as I could tell. Please tell me if you know one, but I could not find one. So I went with a turning up the volume idea, and I did not do pump up the volume, dance, for probably obvious reasons. Instead, I have gone with Elvis Costello's Pump It Up, which is probably an equally unobvious choice for me. But it was actually kind of interesting to try and figure out how to do. There's not a lot of women who do these kinds of patter songs. I feel like, you got your Subterranean Homesick Blues. Apparently there's a U2 version of it, and then this Elvis Costello situation. So I feel like, hey, may as well jump in the water, even if the water is weird. I tried recording it with my electric because when I play it with my amp, interestingly, it's actually pretty cool to like play it super distorted, lots of crunch. It does sound good and appropriate. But when I tried to record with my electric, the way the software works and the way my electric connects to my computer at the moment, there's like a constant buzz. I'm sure you've heard and noticed that in other songs that I've recorded on my electric. There's just like the hum of the amp, even though it's not really an amp, it's just like a kind of constant tone. And with this one, I really wanted to be able to like stop the noise and start it again. So I actually played it on my acoustic in the end. And there's something kind of wrong about it that is also kind of right, I feel. It's almost like it does not belong on the acoustic guitar by any stretch of the imagination, but in a way that I don't belong to this song either. So the two of us together, I think we can enjoy Pump It Up together in an odd way. So join the mailing list, join the Patreon, join all of the things, amplify someone. Those are my requests for the day. And here is Pump It Up by Elvis Costello. I've been on tenterhooks, ending in dirty looks, listen to the music, think about this and that. She said, that's that, I don't want to chitter chat, turn it down a little bit or turn it down flat. Pump it up when you don't really need it. Pump it up until you can feel it. Down in the pleasure center, hell-bent or heaven sent, listen to the propaganda, listen to the latest slander. There's nothing underhand that you wouldn't understand. Pump it up until you can feel it. Pump it up when you don't really need it. She's been a bad girl, she's like a chemical. Though you try to stop it, she's like a narcotic. You want to torture her, you want to talk to her, all the things you bought for her, putting up your temperature. Pump it up until you can feel it. Pump it up when you don't really need it. Out in the fashion show, down in the bargain bin, you put your passion out under the pressure pin. Fall into submission, hit and run transmission. No use wishing now for any other sin. And pump it up until you can feel it. Pump it up when you don't really need it.